How about like a quick explanation of the physical functions here?
No
Is there any
problem.
switches that, like we know that we need 48 volt phantom power
Yes.
in order for those to be boosted up?
Yes, and you can ignore the multi button, but
If somebody
we
hits that,
use-
does it create a problem?
well, it will only record. Sometimes, this will when you have the track record enable. Once you press this, it will only record. That's all. Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
So if the multi button is hit there, it affects what you can do on Pro Tools?
Yeah, it will actually roll. on
It'll
the
send a
recording.
roll command to Pro Tools.
Yeah, let's just try. Before that, meanwhile, so 4 of this is the gain button for the knobs of the mics, and as you can see, there is this front and rear from this small little knob, front and rear, which means that there are actually also a rear input for 01 as well. But given that this is actually a dual purpose, so you can straight away go in from here.
Right.
So you can see mic or DI. DI is digital instrument. So you can actually go like a guitar, musical instrument jack straight away in from here. No problem. Okay, and this is the standard limiter. Should always uncheck this.
Always uncheck.
Yeah, make sure that it's pointing more to outwards. Because the standard limiter will actually it's kind of like an auto limit kind of thing.
It's like a pad for the microphone.
Yeah.
Exactly. Pad level.
But you should go for, if should there be any pad, you just use it from the microphone setting itself, like a negative 20 dB selection.
Okay.
It will be easier. And then this is for 1 and 2. So 3 and 4, which means that you have like mic and line. So you have to also make sure that it's checked on the outer button, because mic means that XLR.
Okay.
And line, if you select line, which is press it inwards, is the 1/4 inch.
Okay. You don't need to make that selection with 1 and 2.
No, not at all.
Okay.
You just have to make sure that it's on front. Okay.
Okay.
And the standard limiter, it's the default state, is the same thing. Other than that, it should be just fine. These buttons is there isn't any issue with anything.
Okay.
You don't have to press it.
Okay.
Even though you pressed it, you just have to make sure that it's unchecked.
So dim and mute, like you want to have that unchecked because otherwise it's muting the incoming signal, right?
Yeah, it should. It will mute everything. Dim.
Dim, yeah, because I could still hear it. Okay, so that's something that could really screw up the kids, like if they accidentally push that button instead of something else.
Yep.
But it's only affecting the play out, or is it affecting like what they would like record and bounce?
Well, it's the overall everything.
Okay.
Yeah. So make sure that it's we're actually playing back in most of the time. I think this should be checked as. So this is actually the playback for the mono.
Right. So what it's doing then is it's splitting a dual mono signal, and then when you have it unchecked, then it's doing a true stereo signal.
Yeah.
Actually.
But most of the
Track 1
time,
to left,
remember,
track 2 to right.
our recording in the mics are mono, so it's best to have this check.
Alright.
Well, that's during the recording process, but if we have that checked during the bounce to stereo, isn't that going to flatten it?
But well, most of the time we have that check, and I think the final source is still fine, because you still get to bounce in stereo.
Okay.
So there isn't any issue with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the multi, I remember last time when I using it, it's still running. It will record when I pressed it. So I'm just gonna try this. Test. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a manual trigger.
Yeah.
It's like the
So
number
overall,
3.
the setup that you done, it's okay.
Yeah.
Suddenly it's okay. After how many semester?
I have no clue.
It's the combined magic.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem.
So yeah, the multi, it's what I told you just now. It will roll. I still can't figure out why, but it's kind of like a manual roll button to me.
Okay.
But I will never use this.
Yeah. It seems like it would be a little bit unpredictable.
Yeah. And sometimes there are 5-second delays when there is a delay compensation.
So actually, but luckily they got Mbox got a few inputs, right?
Yeah.
It's like
There are 6.
Prosonus
has only 2.
2 in front, right? So they got 2 in front.
Or 2. I mean the speakers output there's only 2, but over here in Mbox we have 6 outputs.
For speakers, including the headphones, ah.
Yeah.
So
I actually changed the headphones to the
back
speaker.
to the
Yeah.
speakers. Oh, I see. So this is the speakers, ah.
Yep.
6, right?
Yep.
Then this another 8 is what?
Basically I just changed the headphones back to here. This is where the default state is. But I tried it a couple of times, but they just don't work. These are for the headphones.
Is it for both Mboxes or just the one in 707?
It's just for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
For 706, it's okay, right?
Yeah,
Actually?
706 is fine. But here, sometimes I tried it, it's a little bit different.
What
I don't know.
happened? The previous group, they play the thing and then
No sound.
no sound.
Someone changed settings.
So how
Hardware and software. Software.
Okay lah, so lah.
Yeah. It's just the settings problem. They I think someone changed the I/O over here when I
Input and
looked.
output.
Yeah. So look at the sleeve. Look at the sleeves. Remember? Look at the sleeve. Now look at the number here.
But the number here is what determines it off of these settings,
Yeah,
right?
Yes.
Why don't you use channel 1, then you use this sleeve to put it here.
Put it.
Am I correct? If we change out one, then we take one, then we put it here. Right.
Yeah.
You said one
You want to like
12,
keep 1 to
1
1.
to 12 is mine. But then now you see,
It's 7, right?
this is 7.
So over here, this is 7. Then this is 7. Can see?
But it is input 1.
Okay.
No,
It is
but-
input 1, isn't it?
No, it's channel
Four.
7
It's
off
channel
of
4.
here, so it's going into
Channel
4,
four.
which is here.
Okay.
So this is where the different assignments are occurring. There's not going to be a direct match to the
You
numbers
listen to me,
necessarily.
Yeah.
Alright, the junction box, it's only a link. That's all.
The
So
auxiliary
1
mic
to 1
is
over
on
here,
input
2
1
to
and
2 over here. But
there's
you
1
see,
here,
1 to
so it's
8 over there,
input
right?
1.
You can see 1 to 8. You see? All of these cables, it ends here. 1 to 8 ends here.
Okay.
And then over here it's 1, 2, 3, 4 only for the Mbox. So from the junction box, the connection to there, from there ends here. All of it over here. So what's the number you saw over there?
7.
7. This is number 7. And it's to number 4 on the Mbox.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the biggest problem will be is when students are
Yes.
playing around and mixing numbers up.
No
And
wonder they're
then-
more confused here rather than 705.
Exactly.
Because 705 is follow the same from junction box to the presonus.
Yes.
Like there, we
There's
plug
only
it
2.
at 1, right?
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Sorry,
1 or 2 only.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
But then both of them we put it on the phones.
Yeah.
Which is why if we have those plugs to like just fill in the gaps, then
Exactly.
they're going to be less tempted to like screw around and move things around.
We didn't actually pull out everything on that lab.
Oh,
Yeah, we just pull 1 and 2. I just leave it there. I'll just trash it down.
705 we plug in the mics on 1, channel 1, right?
Yeah.
Then from channel
1 to the presonus at number 6 on the presonus.
okay, number 6.
Yeah.
5 is for the
Actually, the
top
numbers doesn't really matter.
Yep,
It's-
yep.
It's just that the junction box is the one that
Now,
confuses.
It just matters that the connections
Yeah.
are matched.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if somebody
It's confused
changes something,
because,
it works the same.
The headphones for 705 we plug in on the junction box, but here we directly put it here.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Actually, it's nothing. Junction box is like your station too.
Exactly.
Like you said lah.
Exactly. Just gonna delete this.
That's why you said it's quite confusing.
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
That's why when they always change the connection on the junction box and they ended up here, it's like, oh, I don't know which number is what, and that's the confusion part that I always get. Okay. I have
But
to
for Mbox, they only got 4, right?
yeah.
But 2 is for the
Actually,
main.
Mbox has 4, so 2. These are the dual purpose, and then the back ones is
So this means only 2. Actually,
4.
4 lah.
Still 4.
So if I pull out this, I chocho here also can.
Same thing.
Alright, cool.
But it's just that the cable is very messy.
Yeah.
Like this one. This one is really messy. Mbox has the native software itself. It's from here with this Mbox Avid Pro.
Okay.
So this one actually controls this. It's what we kind of like having the, in the PreSonus we have it there. There's another dedicated software, but this one actually run it in the background. And usually we don't really need to launch it at all. Not unlikely like the PreSonus. But this one is for us to double check the general settings without using Pro Tools. Yeah, the native settings inside here.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna stay to this one, Stereo Mix 1, and I'm gonna save this preset as AV Mbox
Okay.
Mbox Pro settings.
Okay, so if there's a need to reload settings, like if somebody comes in and whacks out the Mbox, then they need to reload the Mbox Pro settings first,
Yes,
and then reload the Pro Tools settings.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was about to do this backup the other day, but I don't seem to patch them up at all. So it's been quite long I didn't did this
Okay.
for this setup, but now I think everything is just fine.
Cool. So how do you reload an Mbox Pro then?
But it's very straightforward. Let me just show you where to find this thing.
You have to go into.
Yeah, you just have to go to System Preference.
System Preferences
And you have
and
to-
Avid Mbox Pro.
Yeah, just gonna print screen this. Yeah. So this is it, and you just go to the left upper corner. There's a load button over here.
Okay.
Once you load it, it's on the thumb drive right now. It's this one, the Mbox Pro settings.
Okay.
Just click open, then everything will just go. If the input and output setting is off, right, you can always go setup, I/O, input output, and then right now we have the thumb drive. So let's say nothing is here anymore. I'm just gonna delete everything.
This is the ni tau kalau ada budak buat mess up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So input and output, everything gone.
Alright.
Technically, you can create a new path, but
Alright.
easiest way, you can just use the thumb drive that I created. Just go auto
As
setting.
long as you import
Yes.
setting,
Yeah,
then
you just go import,
then go
and
to
then
import.
let's say we are starting from input, right? From input, then you just double click this,
Okay.
back to life.
Alright.
Same here, output, import, 707, I/O setting, output, back to life.
Alright. So it doesn't have to be like in bus.
Yeah, you don't have to create that
Just
anymore.
I/O only.
Yeah, just I/O. And second thing is the playback engine.
Macam reboot lah, reboot boleh.
That's most of the time when the firewire, this cable are very sensitive. So like, let's say if it's kind of like disconnected, hang on, it will start to blink.
Macam?
Okay, this is the issue. It will start to blink.
Alright.
Like a twinkle, it will start.
So if we see, like if they say that they're not able to get the Mbox to, if they're having a problem with that, tell them to check for that first.
Yeah. And then I'm just gonna save, and then it will quick the session. So you have to double check in the easiest way is to unplug and plug in back the firewire cable. Okay.
Either from this point or from the back of the machine.
Yeah, from the machine. Okay, and then you relaunch your session file. This light has to turn to static, so you have to wait until it turns to static.
Until you stop
I'll work
blinking
around
lah.
you. Don't worry about it.
Until you stop blinking, then it's
Yep.
working lah.
Yep. So as long as when this whole session launch and run, there you go. Turns to static, which means that everything it's back to normal. And then you also still need to double check the playback engine. And this is by default Mbox Pro. if usually a lot of issue when they have is because of the playback engine is on. You go set up, you see the playback engine, it's on Pro Tools aggregated. A lot of times where it will end up here, and when they play back and everything, all of the tracks is just different because there isn't any dedicated input output. Pro Tools aggregated I/O, which means that the native they are bypassing this. So Mbox is actually literally not using anything at all. Yeah.
I see. So if it does that,
then you have to change it to Mbox Pro. Then you will restart the whole thing. Just click yes, okay.
So what happen if it's
need
in
that
the
report.
Pro Tools?
Sorry?
What happen if it's not in Mbox? It will do what?
Everything will not work.
Everything will not work.
Yeah.
The mic will
Your I/O settings over here is gonna be very weird. Yeah. And then your I/Os should be just fine. Yeah.
Now, you said that there was another thing, like unlike with the PreSonus, where we don't really need to reinstall settings for that, but you said with the Mbox, there was a situation we'd have to reset, that we'd have to restore settings for that.
Yes. Well, that one is slightly a little bit tricky. It's over here. You have to click the whole thing first. It will be best. So you have to click save. Alright. So you have to go system preference. So this is the AV Mbox.
Oh, okay.
Right now, just now we have that one is audio VSL.
Audio VSL.
Yeah. So this thing is equal to this. And trust me, this setting is really, really complicated at some point. If you look at the flow.
Oh crap!
I spent I spent some time to digest a little. So at some point, if anything Larry, don't worry, because the thumb drive, you will have this thing over here. This settings over here.
Okay.
So you just load this in, everything will be back to normal.
So now it's
Now it's still fine.
still fine.
Yeah.
Okay. How will we know if this is the problem that needs to be fixed?
When everything looks normal in Pro Tools and all of the hardware is normal, you still have problems with the headphones, then which means that this thing is off. So you just switch off everything, load my settings into here, and you just reboot everything. Everything should be just fine.
Okay, so generally first stage recovery would be determining that they have connectivity with the Mbox, that this is a solid static blue. Second, reload settings for Pro Tools.
Yeah.
And third, reload settings for Mbox.
Yep. This is the last resort.
Okay.
But at some point, there are situations that we can't be certain, like this pinpoint, this will lead to that solution. They'll just mix and jumble it up sometimes. So that's the complication that we have. But if you go through that whole flow, it should be just fine.
Okay.
Because all of this, step by step, you won't go any wrong.
So just start with hardware failure, then we start
Hardware.
getting into software setting failure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually there isn't much catastrophe going on, like things that I really can't solve. Usually Pro Tools will also pop out the error message. So you just ask the student, don't close that error message first, snap a photo and read that error message. They will have like codes like -81012 in the bracket.
So
Which
that's
means
something
I don't know, then you just Google it.
Right.
Once you Google that error message, ended up you will be in the Avid forum and everyone will be talk about it.
Okay.
And there are one and two common issue that I have to remind all of you is Bluetooth. This has to be off.
Bluetooth has to be off?
It's quite dumb of Pro Tools 10 when there is Bluetooth is running in the background. Where sometimes where they want to connect their Bluetooth headphones, it will crash.
Okay.
All of a sudden. And it will pop out an error message like -81012.
But it doesn't have to be like, doesn't relate
It's
to
not
whatever.
relate to
But
this
it's
hardware.
just for Mac. The Mac is the problem itself.
Maybe not just the Mac, it's also the overall program.
Because maybe
There is like
maybe something
conflict in between.
Wasn't there another situation where it was, it wasn't here, it was the
Oh yeah, this one.
sound?
Yeah, on the output itself, there isn't much selection. You just have to select. If it's select in here, then it's it's not running the output from the Mbox. So you have to make sure that this is here.
And something that can also be adjusted from the slider here, right? Which means that like they can actually mute it from the computer.
Yeah.
So everything else could be perfect, still have no sound because the problems with the settings on the Mac.
This will only happen in 7.05 because when Pro Tools running, Mbox is actually overriding all of the settings. It's like it has a much more priority than the PreSonus.
So even if I went in there now and like slid that slider, it wouldn't have any impact.
You can see I can't change anything from here.
Oh.
As compared to 7.05.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you've already set up.
Because actually Pro Tools and Mbox is actually developed from Avid itself. So theoretically it's the best
partners.
kind of like a synergy when they work together. But PreSonus is actually a third party made to be compatible but not 100%. That's my perspective. Yeah. So that's why there is some settings like over here I can't when Pro Tools is running and Mbox is running, I can't change it from the Mac on the volume.
Okay.
But in 7.05 you can still change it.
Can you do that in 7.08 as well?
Yes.
Because it's also PreSonus.
Yes.
That's the criteria.
Yeah. So when they are running in third party, there are some flaws going on, but we can still work with that. It's not like something really major.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, can I change it to 1? Then
Up to you.
Change it to 1?
Up to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Then
What is the popping that's coming up there? Is that something we need to be worried about?
well, the popping is just now. It's traffic just.
Okay, that was
Supposedly
from
we
the
need to
cabling.
like slow down the volume,
Yeah.
isn't it, master?
Or as long as you would switch off the.
Yeah, actually, it's not a good practice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You need to lower down everything before you
Yeah.
unplug or
The
everything.
popping
whatever.
might hurt sometimes.
Yeah, it can like spike the speakers.
Long-
Long term, it will
Up to
damage the amps.